Hi, I'm Don Dwyer from Guardian Jet. Welcome to our latest in a series of videos about what we see in the data in the marketplace, what the airplanes are doing. Today we're going to talk about aircraft residual value analysis. This came about because a customer asked us, hey, what's my airplane going to be worth in 5 years? And I said, geez, my crystal ball broke in 2008. I don't know, but let's look at it differently than we ever have, because it really depends on how you feel about what's happening in the economy, etc. So we decided to look at residual value over different terms, over 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years. So we're going to look at two different airplanes, a CJ2 and a Falcon 2000. Both airplanes fairly good in the residual value historically. In the last 10 years, the CJs averaged about 5% a year residual value loss, the Falcon 2000 about 7%. So they're close. There's a lot of airplanes that have done nowhere near that well during this time period. But the interesting thing is how they got there. How did they get to the number they are over 10 years? So let's take a look at the Falcon 2000. Here we are saying that projecting 5 years forward. And what if the airplane loses value like it did over the last 10 years? Well, that would be this number here. What if it lost value like it has over the last 3 years, 5 years from now? That's this number, 5 years and then last year. So you'll see the biggest hurt, the worst residual value year they've had in the last the last 10 years has been this year, this past year. So that's interesting to me. Now let's look at the CJ2. Same kind of story, but the colors are now flipped. So now if we look at the 10-year, it loses about 5% a year for over 10 years. But if I look at the last 5, it's done a little better than that. If I measure it by the residual value loss over the last 3 years, it's done better than that. But the best one is what happened last year. So in a world where residual values are coming down, we finally have some good news to talk about. And the good news is the pricing on the CJ2 has stabilized. I'll tell you what's interesting to me is that the airplanes that got hurt the worst, the fastest post-2008, seem to be recovering first. So Hawkers, CJs, Beach Jets, that kind of, the things that took the worst beating are now leveling out, where the 650, Global 6000, Falcon 7X, they all struggled mightily this year in terms of residual value. This is a great scenario if you want to upgrade, because the airplane that's stabilized, it's cheaper to trade your airplane this year for that Falcon 2000, that CJ2 for a Falcon 2000 this year than it was last year, the year before, or the year before that. It's just how we're looking at data here. Finally, great to have some good news to talk about in terms of residual value. The last thing I want to say is a little homework here at Guardian Jet. We want to welcome Trevor Lambarth. Trevor is a longtime professional at Bombardier, 27 years. His last position was Vice President of the Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Trevor's decided to join Guardian Jet as we open up Europe. So we're really excited about that, and welcome, Trevor. That's all I got for now.